Everyone, this is Manu. We are going to see how to install CPUOS simulator on a Mac. So the first link to access is obviously the website for CPUOS simulator. Uh, the way how we are going to install is using Docker. So first we need to have some Docker software running like Docker desktop, and then you have to install a particular image. In this case we will be using scottyhardy docker wine. So this image, when we run, we will get all the software required to run the uh, CPUOS simulator. Like there is a software called Wine which can be used to run Windows programs and all that on a Linux. So all those things we'll get upfront, and then on top of this image, once this image is running, we'll access it using Microsoft Remote Desktop. So that's the next software which you need to have. You could use any RDP Remote Desktop software, but I prefer Microsoft Remote Desktop client for Mac. So it's available in the Mac store. So using that, we will connect to this image once it is running, and then install the CPUOS simulator on that. So I already have the Docker running here, and I'll just go to this website and see the instructions. So this is the command to pull the Docker image. So we'll open a command prompt and just pull the image. So this is assuming you already have the Docker installed. So in my case, since I earlier downloaded the image, it is faster. I think the image is about 3 GB. So depending on your internet bandwidth, it may be just few minutes, or it may even go up to half an hour and all that, depending on your bandwidth. Anyway, once the image is pulled, I think the first part is done. So if I go back to the instructions, this page, the author of this Docker image also gives us some utility scripts, which I prefer to use rather than we running the Docker image directly. The scripts can run it in particular modes, which will be useful for us, and we'll see that in a second. So if you see here, it says how to download that particular script, right? So it's basically, you can just use a call command and download the script and then run it on the Mac. So let me just do that. So that script is downloaded. I'm just going to give permission to it so that I can run it. Okay, so I just had created I had a folder and just gave the call command. It got downloaded, and I just changed the permission so that we'll be able to execute that. If I go back to this site, it talks about different ways of running the Docker wine, the script. So basically what this script will do is that it will internally it start the Docker image. You can do it in different modes. The one which I prefer is starting with RDP server. So in this mode, when we start, we can also then use Microsoft Remote Desktop to sort of like a remote desktop to that container, Linux container, which is the image. So for that, the command to use is this docker win rdp. So I just copy that, go to a command prompt, the same directory where you downloaded the script, and this is the command. I'm just adding one more flag just to run the container as root. So it will be useful for us. Obviously it's not safe to do these things for a production kind of system or in corporate system, but we are just trying to use it for just education purpose. So and it is easier for us to do it as root, so that's why I'm just giving this flag. And when I click enter, it's going to start that image and Docker image. So I've noted down the commands here, so you don't have to remember, I'll just share this as soon as this recording is done. So it is starting. Meanwhile, yeah, I think it started, and it also opened a shell terminal to that new Linux machine which is started, which is that image what we saw. So if I go back, they talk about how we can connect to that running image. So in order to do that, you just go to Microsoft Remote Desktop and you say add PC. In this case, this Docker image is running in your Mac, so you can just give localhost. And there is a default port for RDP, that's where it has started, so you don't have to give anything else. You have to add a user, so you click on add user and give this username and password, wine user and wine user, add. So that's it, and then you just click on add and you have that configuration added. Now you can just double click on this, and first time it will ask you to accept the certificate settings and all that. Just say continue, and so it can configure. So it opened up in full screen, so you can see that image what we downloaded, and it is running that, and we are getting a remote desktop connection to that container. So and you can see here some statements which has got updated. Anyway, so this rest of our work will happen from this container, so I'll be putting this in full screen. So we can just copy the OS simulator URL and go to the remote desktop. Now I'll put it on full screen. You have a browser here, you just open. So in my system I'm able to copy from the host system and paste to this virtual machine. So here, then you go to downloads. So first thing what we should do is that just download this zip, this executable, the installer zip. Basically this is an installer for this CPOS program. So just click on it, just say save file. Okay, so we are doing all this in the Docker container. Okay, what we are running now. The next thing is, there is a section which says that Linux and Mac installation information. So you just go to that, and it talks about some instructions. Sometime it can be confusing. Anyway, I'll tell you what commands to execute. So first of all, the installer what we downloaded, it is in the downloads folder. So just open up a terminal here. So I open the terminal. And I'll cd it is called downloads. So you have it here. So first thing is, let's unzip this. So for that you can give this command. We keep on putting it in the notepad so that I can share with you as soon as it's done. We also okay, so just do an unzip. So going back to this installation instructions, the first thing to do here is to install some dependent software. So this Docker image already has wine and cab extract. So basically you don't have to do anything, but if you just want to run that, just to be sure, we can do that. For that actually we need root. The sudo for some reason is not working here. So what I did is that I'll go back. I'll go back to our Mac command prompt where we had started the that script, and through that the image. At that point it had logged into that image. Okay, and here I will just so I am currently root here. What I will do is I will just change the password for the root, because I don't know what is the default root password for that image. So I'll give some password. Just remember that whatever you are going to give is there. And then I go back to my remote desktop, and I can switch user to root and give the password what you just said right here. So you can install apt this wine and cab extract, but they're already there in this image, so you don't have to. So it says it's already there, so nothing to be installed, so that's fine. So that means this image already had it, so that's okay. The next thing is to install something called two dependent software. I think it is Visual Basic and some Microsoft, some foundational uh, software required before you start executing the CPOS simulator. So for that, what we have to do is we have to copy this, copy, and try to execute. Here, winetricks VB6 run. Yeah. So it's trying to install something here. Let's see. Okay, so it's trying to. Okay, there is some error. It says it was not able to run it, probably because I tried as root. So let me just exit, and now let me try to run it. Yeah, I think now something is happening. Yeah, so I think now that Visual Basic, it's asking for that licensing agreement and all that. Okay, yes. I don't know what language it is. I believe this is yes. So yeah, so I think it is done. So the first time it gave error because I was trying as a root anyway. So now I just tried as a normal user, wine user, and it worked. So this part is done. The next thing is to run the installer. So I'm in downloads folder now. You see I'm here on my downloads. So in the downloads folder, once it is unzipped, what needs to be done is you can just give this command wine, sorry, and this file, this name of this pkg is. So you can see that it is started the installer. So it says yeah, next. You can give all the default path, say does not exist, can be created. There is some option, the enhanced standard. I'm giving enhanced GUI. It's all default. Created desktop icon, click on next, install. Okay, so I think it is installed, and you can check this and it will come up the yeah. So you can see the simulator is up. um, so it's showing some notes and all that. Okay, that's fine. So you can see here the CPU simulator is up. So um, if you go to the desktop, you can see a link to that created here. So later also you can actually use this shortcut to access it. So even if you after closing, stopping the simulator, do you wish to continue? Yes, you can use. So I don't know why it's giving an error. I mean, while closing, it doesn't matter. So I just double click here. Let's see. Coming up. Okay, it's coming up. Okay, I haven't tried to add any instructions and actually run something, but I'm guessing it's working. First step was to just get this thing installed. So that's all. Thank you everyone, and let me know if I need to try out something more. Bye.